This is Michael Levitis with Marina Shepelsky on our next fourth installment of Relationship Confidential. And first of all, today we had big news. As Marina has predicted, who won the defamation lawsuit?
Johnny Depp won the defamation lawsuit. He got 15 million award, and
Unbelievable. I did not
she
expect
got
it.
2 million, by the way. So she also got something, but at the end, she owes him $13 million. And I want to remind everybody, this wasn't a divorce,
Right.
or like an abuse case. This
Mhm.
wasn't a divorce, and it wasn't an abuse case. This was a defamation case. That means that Johnny Depp and his lawyers convinced the jury, the members of the jury, that she intentionally lied and ruined his business reputation, I should say,
Okay, but
because his business is acting.
he won, but you're saying she won as well, $2 million?
She
How
got
does
two
that work?
million.
How does that
Yeah,
work?
I think so. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, I mean, he
Okay.
got more, but yeah, that's
Okay,
what
very good.
CNN said.
Very good. So we wanted to give you a little relapse of what we talked about before with Amber Heard, Johnny Depp. But now we're moving on to our next installment, and it's about the C word, cheating, the big
Yeah,
cheating word.
it's a very frequently brought up issue in all kinds of Facebook groups, Reddit, videos by divorce attorneys, any kind of dating discussion. This always comes up. And I
Yeah.
said to
Mhm.
Michael, it's time we start talking about like regular topics and not just news or something boring, because
Mhm.
we were going to talk about gun violence today, but I said, you know what, this is a relationships show. Let's talk about relationships. And
And I think it's more
interestingly,
sexy. It's more
yeah,
sexy.
this is more sexy. This
Yeah,
is definitely more sexy.
exactly. So the question that a lot of people are asking is men versus women. Who cheats more and how the cheating is done? We talked about it a little bit before in our other programs, but let's go over it again. First of all, in your opinion, I mean, you are a divorce attorney, so obviously you have clients coming in to see you, men, women who want to divorce based on cheating of their spouses, so maybe they themselves are cheating, they want to be out of the relationship. What do you see in your practice in general? Who cheats more, men or women?
I think men cheat more. I've
Okay.
looked at some studies before the show. In 2017, there was a study. There was a
Mhm,
social study
mhm.
done across the board, and in general, men admitted 20% of them. 20% of men admitted to having relationships with somebody other than their spouse, and
20%. One out
13%
of
of
five.
women.
That's not bad.
Yeah, and 13% of women. So 20 versus 13 is actually not that far apart.
Hmm.
And of course, who comes to a divorce lawyer? Obviously, when the relationship is already falling apart.
Hmm.
But there was another study done where it was a blind study, equal men and women, and they said if you could cheat on your spouse and guaranteed no one will ever find out,
Yeah, I saw
no
that.
one will ever know.
Hmm.
Guess what the percentage was of people of both genders that said they would cheat?
I think it's 50-50. I think it was
It was like
exactly the same.
85% or so.
But in both
Most
sexes, men
people
and
would
women.
cheat,
Unbelievable.
regardless of the gender, if no one would ever find out. And
That gives me
I
that gives
think
me
this goes to the
very
idea that people are polyamorous, men and women, right? So
mhm.
we like to have as many sexy relationships as we can. If we are not punished for it, why not?
I would have thought
Right?
of men more because men are, I would say, from genetics, probably preconditioned to spread their seed more. So you would think men would cheat more or would want
Yes,
to
but
cheat
then
more.
women are conditioned to find the best seed and make the
Mhm.
best offspring and as much as possible.
Mhm.
So, I mean, if we're going to go that way, you could say it's more or less the same. And I think the more our society moves towards acceptable, like, rules for LGBT, in many states, same sex marriage, and, all these other issues, and with abortions, which I don't know, that's under threat right now.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
I
we'll talk
think we're
about it.
going to move closer and closer to evening out the percentages, the statistics of people cheating on each other in relationships.
Well, we want to hear from you. If you guys are listening in, and I see based on numbers you're watching us, what do you think? Who cheats more, men or women? Let's hear your thoughts and why do you think this is?
And give us your thoughts how they cheat differently, because there's definitely a difference in how,
Mhm.
not how many of them, but how they do it. How do they,
Well,
when do they go about it, right?
well, let's talk about why. I mean, we touched upon it that men want to, by instinct, spread their seed. But Marina, you also mentioned to me something before the show that you think women do a lot of revenge cheating. So it's
Yeah,
not
I
biological, it's
believe
more
so.
emotional. Can you talk about that?
I believe that men are more, more random with how they cheat. In other words, they could fall in love, they could get drunk and have a one night stand, they could be on a business trip and sleep with someone, they could have a mistress. There's many ways that men cheat, and
Mhm.
they often will say to the wife if she finds out that, oh, it didn't mean anything. I
Mhm.
love you, and they're not really dishonest. They believe it. The
Okay.
question is, do they believe it? They believe it. They believe that they love their spouse, but
Mhm.
they went astray. They got,
They got caught up in the
temporarily
moment.
blinded, right?
Okay.
Temporarily blind.
Okay.
Women don't just randomly do things like that,
Mhm.
right? Women go about cheating in a more, I think, intentional way. Women are more about creating relationships. Sometimes women would cheat by not even sleeping with somebody, but they're in love with somebody they work with.
Mhm.
I personally had a friend who shared with me that she was working with someone. They went to lunch every day, and they often talked on the phone, and they emailed. And she really had deep love for this man. They never touched, they never held hands. She had feelings for him. But to me, that's cheating, because you obviously are not, doing all that stuff. You're like not putting that energy, right? That love energy in the marriage. It's outside the marriage. And I
Well,
hear
let's
this all the
let's ask
time.
the audience. What do they think? If you confide in another person, you're in love with them, you consider them your best friend more than your spouse. Is that cheating, or is cheating more physical, sex based? Let's see what the audience thinks. So you're saying that women are more calculated, men they're more impulsive.
Yeah, and
They see.
the society puts a lot of pressure on women to be the one who keeps the family, the one who gets pregnant. So you have to know whose baby it's gonna be. And even if you watch Maury Povich,
Mhm,
I think that's not the majority of the
mhm,
population that's going around and has 9 baby daddies lined up, and we don't know who to pick, right?
mhm.
People that have women that have a lot to lose, there's a house, there's a retirement plan, there's kids in common, they are going to be cautious with cheating. But if you push a good woman hard enough, she will make you pay for sure. So once the
Mhm.
woman starts cheating, she really makes it count. She hurts in a way that the men sometimes cannot recover. And it's difficult to generalize like this to
So,
put
Maria, you're
labels.
saying even if the spouse
But
that was cheated upon doesn't find out, but the woman still gets her satisfaction out of knowing that she cheated knowingly on her spouse, it's a revenge, and she gets more out of it.
yeah, I feel
That's
like
from the act.
a lot of times women will cheat to get back at the man for things he might not even know.
Hmm.
Like, meaning
Okay.
he's not even aware of what it is that she hates him for, because she might not even admit to it out
Wow.
loud,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So, for example, if the man is constantly putting the woman down, comes home late from work, she'll go and like sleep with his brother,
Hmm.
not because she loves the brother,
Wow. That's
but
brutal.
just to make it like
Wow.
really count.
That's crazy. That's brutal.
she'll, if she thinks deep inside that he's not the kind of breadwinner that she wants, or like he's not the kind of like supporter, the kind of husband that she wants for herself, she's gonna go find somebody, you know, really successful and like rich. And again, not so much because she wants to leave with that person, right? But just because. And I feel like if you watch the movie Indecent Proposal, right?
Of course.
Think about that movie. Think about when she agreed to that $1 million night with the other guy, right? I mean, she kind of liked Robert Redford, but I think she agreed to it because he was like the successful alpha male. And her husband was so freaking annoying with this money, and he was depressed about not getting a job with art because he was this great artist. He was an architect, and you know, all this stuff. And she was like, you know what, to hell with you. Here is this rich guy who wants to give me $1 million and an awesome dress, right? Women will understand me.
Right.
Screw you. I'm going to go with the guy who gave me the dress. And you paid for it. You admit to it. Like, meaning you agreed to this. So that's what I'm saying to you.
Yeah.
You know?
Marina, we have a very interesting comment that somebody wrote. Today it's easier than ever before to cheat because of many options, but technology limits you from covering your tracks so well.
Yes.
That is actually so true, because I read a study that in majority of divorce proceedings in court documents, the word Facebook appears. So that means somehow Facebook was subpoenaed, Facebook messengers were involved in uncovering this infidelity. In your practice, what do you see? How easy is it to uncover what you're doing on social media, on Facebook, on Instagram, and these other great platforms?
I'm going to tell you from my practice, and then I'm going to tell you from my personal experience. From my practice, it's pretty easy for an attorney to subpoena social media records, especially when you're dealing with the wife, right? The wife knows her spouse. She knows he loves like Instagram or Facebook. He loves all these, you know, social. She'll know which ones he loves, right? So we subpoena records directly from the company, the phone records, the internet records. There's a lot of ways to get this information in discovery. Now, is cheating a big part of divorce? Like, does it make a huge difference for who gets to keep the house? Absolutely not. Okay, no. The answer is no.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
And a lot of people think that, oh, if they only catch him or her cheating, I win in the divorce case. Not really. Not really. Not unless you show tremendous waste on the mistress of the marital resources. Like, if he spends 3/4 of the family budget on the mistress, yes, we're going to get that money back into the pot, right? But if it's just like regular on and off here and there type of spending that he's usually doing anyway, even if he wasn't cheating, then no, the cheating doesn't make him eligible for less than half of what he's entitled.
I see.
So that's a myth, you know, but from personal experience, I remember when I was single for many years, I was single. I got divorced in 2011, and I was basically single, like not living with anyone until 2019. So for 8 years, I was on apps on and off, and there was this Mamba app where so many married guys were. I met so many of them. I mean, I just like would go to a coffee and they were married. I would only find out when I would meet them on the thing. Sometimes
did they wear their wedding ring?
Yeah, the whole thing. Yeah, they weren't even shy about it. Sometimes they even said, I'm married. Well, you know, if they said it ahead of time, I wouldn't even go on for a coffee. But if they didn't admit to it, but then they would see me and say, oh, you're a lawyer. And like the fact that I guess I'm a lawyer made them feel like afraid, you know,
They
and
should
put
be.
her on the spot. And then they would tell me, this guy went out, like, I mean, I made fun of this one guy. I can tell you a little story. He was like a little older than me, so we met, and he was trying to like be like all mysterious. And I was like, listen, buddy, please, okay? I'm an attorney. I had 5 minutes with you. I can tell you who you are and your last name and your first name and all this stuff. And he's like, how do you know? How do you know? And I was like, I told him about all the clues that he gave me and that his son was in the Navy or in the Marines. I forget now. He had that sticker on the car. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
That,
right, right.
you know, the
Support
symbol of the
support the
Marines.
army. Okay.
And he
Semper
gave
Fi,
me like
Semper
a
Fi.
fake first name, but then I figured
Mhm.
out his real last name from his email. I don't remember. It's not that hard, and people are so like stupid. They don't think about all these things. And he wasn't prepared for it. He got super scared and he like ran away. But I wasn't interested in breaking his cover. I'm just
Mhm.
saying, if you're gonna cheat and lie, don't lie. Okay, be like honest with the other
Right.
person. Some
Mhm.
women are just looking to hook up, and that's absolutely fine. You know.
Mhm. Mhm.
But don't lie and like be like, like you're an undercover agent, please. Right?
Marina,
Um,
speaking of undercover agent, what do you see regarding social media that promises you that your messages will disappear, like Snapchat, for example,
Telegram, Snapchat,
Telegram? Yeah,
those servers
are
in other
those
countries.
still? Yeah, are they still discoverable? Can they still be subpoenaed for divorce? Have you seen that happen? Because a lot of people rely
It's
on that. They
probably
rely on
impossible.
using Snapchat to hide their messages. Does that work or no?
I haven't seen anything lately with Snapchat because our
Mhm.
generation doesn't use Snapchat per
Yeah,
se. We don't
yeah,
really
yeah.
know what it is even.
Mhm.
But people are using, especially Russian-speaking people, are using Telegram a
Yeah,
lot.
that's big now. That's
But
big.
those servers are elsewhere. They're not here. And if you
Okay,
just delete it on your phone, it basically
okay,
disappears.
so we're not giving you advice how to cheat. However, where you to cheat, Telegram.
Also, look, people like okay, the wife goes to bed. The guy is on his laptop. He goes on Pornhub, whatever, Mamba, all these websites on the computer. Then he
Whoa, whoa, wait,
deletes
wait, wait, wait.
everything.
Let's not conflate Pornhub and Mamba. Two different animals.
No, I know. I'm
We're
just
going to
giving
talk
you an
about porn.
example.
We're going to
Okay,
talk
I'm just
about
giving.
whether it's cheating. Hold that thought. Okay, go ahead.
Even if you delete history, browsing history, which
Okay.
most men don't even know how to, and women, by the way, equally don't know how to do,
So, Marina, how do you do it?
it
Give us
still
advice.
stays in the computer memory.
Mm-hmm.
It stays in the cookies. It
Mm-hmm.
still stays there. So if you
So
really are
everybody
serious
delete
about
your
this,
cookies.
yes, delete your cookies.
Okay, but let's talk about porn. Since you brought it up,
I brought it up.
watching porn, in your opinion, as a woman, if a guy watches porn, and I believe it's more guys watching porn, right? Is would you say that's cheating or no?
Generally, no. No, I don't think so. I watch porn and sometimes alone.
Guys,
I don't
we
think
want to
it's
hear
cheating.
from you. If for those who are
But
watching, what do
I
you say?
think
Is
it
porn
becomes a
cheating
problem
or not?
sometimes. It's not about cheating per se. Porn to me is a different topic, and people here have posted too.
Mm-hmm.
Porn sometimes become an addiction. It becomes an addiction,
Okay.
like gambling or sports, and the person watching porn gets so into it that they forget that they have a real woman or real, mostly it's
Right.
men. So they
Mm-hmm.
forget that they have a spouse, they have a real woman waiting for them. It becomes so much part of their life that they like alcoholism or anything else,
Mm-hmm.
then they start to like let go of other areas of their life.
You're
I
saying that
personally don't think
it's not
porn
the
is
same
cheating.
level,
No.
and women should be more understanding if guys are watching porn. Perhaps they're addicted, and perhaps they need help.
Yeah, and I think you have bigger problems if your guy has a friend who is a female. To be honest with you,
Okay, let's talk about
like
that. Can a guy have a female friend, and vice versa? Can a woman have a male guy? Is that a red flag or is that acceptable?
it's hard to talk about this. I have male friends for a long time, for years. I have some of my childhood friends are men, but as you get seriously into a relationship and you get married and you have a family, you really shouldn't have alone time that much with your other opposite gender friends if you're straight or same gender if you are queer. But It's a hard question, but I think if a guy has a friend at work, like I had a case where the guy had somebody at work who always called him crying.
Hmm.
Her boyfriend broke up with her. She had like problems with her family. He was helping her out. And like if you have a family and instead of being with your family on like a weekend, you're talking to your work friend, it's
Right.
weird and there's something more going on.
Yeah, Marina, I think you hit it right in the nail. First of all, you need to have open lines of communication. So if you're talking to your guy friend, if you're a girl, be open about it. Never hide it from your significant other. When you see secrets, then you know there's a problem. That's one. Second of all, if you are confiding in your friend more than for your to your spouse, that's also a problem. That's when you see there's some kind of emotional attachment that you have with your friend more than with your boyfriend, girlfriend, or a spouse. Otherwise, I think it's perfectly fine to be friends with the opposite sex, perfectly fine to work with the opposite sex, as long as the boundaries are respected and there's communication.
Yeah, and I'm still looking at the study that I reviewed before our show. It says that 89% of cheating women
Okay.
admitted that the person they cheated with is less attractive than their husband or their significant other.
Very interesting.
So,
Very
so,
interesting.
so that's what I'm saying when I say women don't cheat the same as men. Men will see a pretty lady, nice
Right.
boobies, nice butt, this and that,
Yeah, I
and
think for
they'll
men it's
go
more
cheat.
visual. You're right. For men it's more visual.
Right. Women don't even pick more attractive partners. Do you see what I'm saying? It's
Hmm.
definitely not about looks or
Hmm.
sex.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's what I'm saying. It's not
Hmm.
so much about sex. For women, it's more about other things. A lot of it is revenge. A lot of it is she goes gets the attention that she doesn't get at home because I think 90% of cheating women said that the person they were cheating with gave them a lot more attention, made them feel more significant, more appreciated.
Hmm.
And only 30% of cheating men said they have mistresses who are younger than their wife. So again, for men, again, this is like myths. We're breaking all these myths. People
Right.
always say, "Oh, he always goes for the younger one." Not true. And let me tell you a secret. If you are mistress, how to break up his family, and this is what happens. Okay,
Okay.
the
Mistresses
woman
everywhere, listen
of,
up.
let's say it's a woman of any age, but of course, if you're younger, it helps. Okay, you listen to him. Whatever stupid interest he has, you act like they're really interesting and cool. If
Okay.
he loves fish, and I mean stupid, like, to somebody from the outside, it seems
Hmm.
stupid. But
Hmm.
when you love somebody, it's not stupid. But I'm saying he loves fishing, and the wife is sick of fishing. I remember my grandpa used to love to fish, and he would bring the fish home. My grandmother, my maternal grandmother, would throw these fits about it. She would say, "Why are you bringing this stinky crap home? I don't need this. I've been working so hard. I'm not going to stand for hours and clean the shit all the time now. What
Hmm.
is wrong with you, right?" So
Hmm.
he loves fishing, and you want to take him from the wife. You say, "Oh, you love fishing? That's so cool. Last week I went with my friends fishing. I sat there for an hour. I caught,
Hmm.
and then, but you have to understand what you're talking about. You have to do some
Right.
research on Google. You
Hmm.
have to know what you're saying. You can't sound stupid." I know somebody who got the guy to leave her because he was into hockey. He was married with 2 kids, loved hockey. His life was about hockey. This girl knew everything there is to know about hockey. But she's now the second wife. They still go to
Wow.
hockey games
She did her
together.
research.
She wears the
Did
jerseys
Was
for
she
hockey.
genuinely into hockey, or was this just to
I
get the
don't
guy?
know, but maybe she became genuinely into it. But like in other words, men need to feel appreciated. They want to hear that somebody loves them as they are, even if they like fishing or something like that. If he's into poker, learn poker and talk about how awesome it is, how smart he is, and all these things. They love to have somebody show them interest in their hobbies and their interests, and like there's a game you play with them on and off, and you have to know what you're talking about. Like this, men are not that complicated. They're not. Women, oh, so much more complicated.
Mhm.
Even I know from my, like, even from my immigration practice, right? I always talk about these cases, VAWA, right? VAWA is Violence Against Women Act. It's a law that people use when they get married to a U.S. citizen or green card holder. You can legalize if that person abuses you. You could be a man or a woman. The man comes to me. I explain this to him very simple. I say, I need your passport, this. I give them a list. No problem. They pay the case. They give me everything. We submit, done. The woman will call 1,000 times. I have a police clearance, but it doesn't have a dot where it should. Is that right? Okay. I looked at the bill. It's $20 off. I think it's incorrect. Are you sure you can have everything to me by Friday? This is what I'm saying to you. Women and men are completely different species.
Marina, let's talk about what happens after cheating. Let's talk about forgiveness. In your opinion, and guys, please join in. Tell us what you think. Would you say what's easier to forgive if you want to forgive, if you want to work on the relationship? If your spouse had a one-time, one-night stand, or they had many one-night stands, okay, let's make it more interesting, or they had a long relationship with somebody that was emotionally vested, what is easier to forgive?
What I think?
One-night stand or a long emotional relationship?
I think that the one-time thing is easier to forgive, especially when the guy was like drunk, or they had a bachelor's party, or he was in Vegas with his buddies for a night, and it's not something that he does every week, I think that's easier to forget. You probably should go to some sort of counseling together to figure out the problem, and there are ways to like deal with if somebody has a tendency and they start to get bored in the relationship.
Right.
A relationship is a job. I mean, it is. There's no way around it. You have to work on it. With time, the sexual attention fades. You got to get creative. You got to think of things to do. If your guy likes porn, sometimes you have to play games. I mean, you have to know who you're dealing with, and you have to keep your partner guessing at all times. You have to keep them interested. Sometimes women are like that too. There are ways around this. It's not like a death sentence to a marriage if it's like a one-time thing.
But I want to play, if I may, devil's advocate. You can argue that if somebody had a one-night stand, it was impulse, right?
Yeah.
That means you have impulse control problems. So that if it happened once, it could happen again and again and again.
Okay? Yeah, it could. But listen, the person could be walking
down
the street. But the person could be walking down the street and the car may hit him and they'll die. So you can't ever have any guarantees in life.
Right,
even if somebody never had a one-night stand, one day he could meet a girl who could be into hockey with him, and he will leave you.
But it is a sign of possibly of impulse control and a sign of instant gratification, that somebody wants instant gratification there on the spot, which could be dangerous. On the other hand, if it's a long-term relationship, you would say that, like you said, that's so much in common. It was emotional. So perhaps if I, the spouse, I can give the same kind of support, then he's not or she is not going to need to go to that other person, and we can work on it. I'm just playing devil's advocate. What do you think?
I mean, I think in reality, cheating is very difficult to come back from. Cheating is very difficult to come back from. I have seen people come back from it, usually when they have a lot of money and young kids. Money gives you all kinds of motivation and incentives to stay together, because a lot of times people have complicated financial structures and businesses where there's other people involved. And if you begin the Armageddon, which breaking up and dividing everything in half is like an Armageddon, then everyone is going to die in the nuclear fallout. Put it this way.
Right.
I knew somebody who was getting divorced, and he told me stories that would make your hair stand on end. We filed for divorce. The wife called up all kinds of people, got them involved, and said, if you get divorced, you're all going to jail, mofos, for all kinds of fraud. And quickly, they made up, and they're still married to this day. So, as we learned, money, and a lot of money, is usually, although look at Bezos, Jeff Bezos, he didn't care. Bill Gates, I guess at some point, if there's so much money, it doesn't matter. It's not, when there's little money, there's nothing really holding people together. And when there's a lot of money, billions and billions, also people are not going to stay together. But if you're somewhere on like the upper middle class, shelf there, echelon, I think you'll stay together because you just have so much to lose. Also, little kids. When you have little kids, and for some men, they want to have their child in their house every day. They want to put him to bed, and they know if they get divorced, it's not going to happen. Even if it happens in the beginning, it's not a lasting thing. So, from my practice, from my experience, I could be wrong, but from my experience, this is what I've seen.
And from your practice,
I see a comment from Ilyas Baazov, who's our faithful viewer now. He says cheating for a man having outside sex is mechanical, like taking a pee or a powerful workout. But for a woman, it's more emotionally, spiritually invested. I agree with him. Though it can start out with some playful energy, as with the guy. And he also doesn't think that porn is cheating. He thinks porn is a mix of exercising your erotic and creative side of the mind without physically doing the transgression. Here's the porn fan.
Of course, there are a lot of porn fans. That's why Pornhub is so big. Okay, everybody, thank you for your comments. And we want to definitely hear from you on this topic and future topics, because we always need from you inspiration. We need food for thought. Please inspire us, inspire others. We try to come up with interesting topics. If you have anything in mind, let us know. Write to us, post below. And we're going to come back to you next week, but not on Wednesday, because I'll be occupied on Tuesday. We're going to come back next Tuesday at 5 o'clock with another great topic. Maybe we'll come back to gun control. Although we have to fit gun control into a relationship.
Yeah, it's a very tough subject. I'm still very upset with this whole thing. I'm still thinking about it. Yeah. So, but next Tuesday, see you at 5, everyone.
Exactly. Marina, thank you. Thank you, everybody. Until next time. Take care.
Until next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.